agenda review meeting to order. And Terry, please do not stand for this, but we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Council Member Dave Sauter.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
great republic which stands one nation under God,
under God,
indivisible, with
liberty and justice for all.
All right. Is there anyone who would like to be heard for privilege of the floor at this time? All right, seeing no hands, I'm assuming there's nobody in the room. So we will go for the agenda for the meeting. So if John, if you guys want to pull that up.
Go right down to the resolutions. Well, we do have one public hearing.
To override the tax cap, okay. We did receive one communication on that, but that's all that I have seen.
Okay, is that?
That was Art Benham.
Right. Or in the communication binder. Can you forward it to me?
Yeah, I thought he sent it to all of us, but I will forward that off to you. Apparently, I think it was just to a few of us. Yep, I will send that to you, Crystalline.
Okay. Works.
We don't have any major reports coming up. So let's get to resolutions and motions.
There was something, Terry, if you recall, because I don't. You were gonna bring something up when we got to
yeah, PPW.
DPW.
From the meeting on the other day. You
Um,
remember what that was, Jim? I can't remember.
I apologize, I'm sorry, what was that?
oh,
What was Terry gonna bring up under PPW report? There was something that said, yeah, we'll bring it up then. Do you remember, Terry?
You're breaking up on me. What was that again?
What were you gonna bring up at the meeting that we discussed at PPW on Friday?
I have it written down, it's just upstairs.
Oh,
I can't remember.
I have it written down upstairs.
I'm drawing a blank, guys.
Me too.
Well, there's something that came out of
Oh,
PPW.
shoot.
I've got it written down, so I'll mention it at the meeting on Monday when we get
Okay.
to that. Or beforehand, I'll
Jeez.
write it down for you.
Okay, thank you. I'll look at my notes. I just don't have that stuff with me at the moment.
All right.
Okay, so I know, John, you said as we go through the general ops and finance, there are multiple resolutions that have multiple steps. So I would just ask just for patience as we go through these, ask any questions, any concerns that you have. So if there are answers that need to be found, that there is time to find them, because a lot of the wrangling deals with municipal law and direction from the comptroller's office and us following those recommendations and those requirements.
Okay,
Yes. And I combine general operations with finance, and I think that's why we do moving forward on agendas, because they typically line up with each other.
Yeah.
And I get tired of trying to decide which was more important, the finance or the general operations, so now they're just combined.
Perfect sense.
So the number 14 is just a budget transfer, general highway funds. I'm gonna actually go to this agenda. Bring the resolutions up. So these are just items that came up because in finance committee, because we're just the negatives on them. We got what needs to get transferred and the reasons why here. Right, most of it is just typical operations throughout the year, more than anticipated costs. And that's it, really. We had some HSA stuff, that's simply because people just changed their elections. The best guess estimates are made at the beginning of the year, based on what people typically do. And then that can change throughout the year based on what the employee elects. The other bigger one is just the general repair wages. This is just some extra overtime that occurred. But it all balances out with snow removal wages. So this is the time of year that gets typically, their salaries typically get switched over to snow removal anyway. But instead of doing that early and making the payroll adjustment, I wanted to get it in here as a budget adjustment, just because that helps us keep track in the budgets as to what we actually spend in each line, rather than, so we know that next time around, leading up to November, we might need a little additional extra in general repair wages versus snow removal. So none of this changes the budget. These are all internal budget adjustments.
Any questions or comments on that one?
Nope.
I'm fine with that. Anybody in the meeting?
No,
Okay.
that's good.
We're adopting the local law to override tax cap levy. It's typical, although I did change it up, the resolution up from what you guys would normally see, because usually it's done earlier with no relation to the actual budget, which isn't really, it's what a lot of people do. I don't think it's the right way to do it. I think the right way to do it is how we're doing it now, which is waiting until we actually go through the entire budget process, preliminary budget, the public hearing, and then after everything's all said and done, determine, okay, we're still gonna be over tax cap. So then we do the local law. And so this just reflects that we've been through all those processes, had all the discussions, and we're still gonna be over tax cap, because that's what's best for the operations of the town. And quite frankly, we're not even that far over tax cap. It's really fire service and special districts that pushes this over.
Right.
We wouldn't be if it was just our town highway general fund tax. Then we're adopting the 2026 budgets right after that. If you guys got a chance to take a look at it, I decided to go through and do kind of a short version of a budget book. I really don't think it's sufficient to do those giant budget books that nobody reads.
No.
But this right here is the main information that people care about. So I intentionally did like a quick summary of the budget and did some different things to try to get what I think people are really gonna care about, I wanna see. And that's in these quick budget facts here. But then there's some explanations of our strategies and all that, so, unfortunately, I couldn't use. For this purpose, our new software that has these, this kind of automated within it. Because how drastically we changed the way the budget looks and the framework of the budget, the codes and the names of the accounts and the consolidations. I could not get it to just work in the system. It just wasn't pushing out correct information, so.
Well, next year should be better.
Next year it's gonna be nice and clean. You're gonna see that it's gonna be a year 25, 26. Or 26 to 27 direct comparison. And it's gonna look good, but I did it manually and made it look the best I could
All right.
during the overnight hours. And so I did put our staffing on there because, I just went through and just also thought about some of the things that just to go along with the same concept of, what we were doing during the process. We were addressing what people were talking about. We were addressing the concerns. And so I kind of followed that same pathway here of just addressing some of those things, one of those being the staffing. So I wanted to make it clear, our staffing numbers, these are our funded. I do have to make some edits here when I publish the final one. This is gonna say funded funded staffing.
Yeah.
And then this is actually part-time here, it's general. And so I just wanted to show those numbers, that it's not what people seem to think it is, our increases. And capital strategy, and really when you look at those charts, the levy comparison is quite tight right there. And then again, those quick facts up there are just more, are down here as well. Showing the total tax rate increase of 5 cents.
So the average assessment went down.
It went down. Yeah, that went down.
So
The bubble's bursting, everybody.
the average, or the person with an average assessment is gonna be paying around $20 extra in the year.
So is that house assessed at 387?
Yep.
So that
Yeah.
they're gonna pay $20 more.
$20.
Heh.
$20 more accomplishing a lot. Investment strategy, talk about just our investments there. It's hard to do like a revenue chart to show those things because we get. It wouldn't be. Really reflective of things to, if you show a year-over-year revenue, because they change and guesstimate and, it's just not something that really tells the story, so I'm gonna put it in there. Budget highlights again, and then I did do a whole, pages of the actual special district rates, 'cause I know those are questions that people have often too, is what am I paying for this district? And so that's right here in the budget book with the adopted budget. Every district, the 2025 rate, 2026 rate, and then the change. Obviously, the most significant one being
Fire.
Fire.
That's it, and then you get into the budget here, and this is just 2026 budget report. But what I also included, because people want to see it, even though it isn't going to be reflective of true comparisons. As I explained in my initial description, I did the threw in here the budget worksheet that has the year-over-year comparisons. That's why I gave that explanation at the beginning, because you're gonna see things like this. You know, court personnel up $177,844. Well, it's not really, it's because we took a bunch of these lines and combined them into one.
Mm-hmm.
That's why these all say zeros. So that's why it was just really hard trying to figure out the best way to show these comparisons without people thinking like we're doing crazy increases.
Yeah.
It's just, well, that's why I explained it the best I could up top and put the actual budget in, and then to show these comparisons. I mean, anybody smart should be able to realize that when you see zeros here, that means none of these lines are funded, because now they're all into.
And that money went somewhere.
So, but that's, and then I directed in my narrative there to really just pay attention to. This is where you're gonna see the overall changes. So, which again, if you look at that. Our 2024 expenses exceeded our 2026 proposed expenses.
Yeah. Well, I think as we've gone through this process, we've had more board and staff collaboration on this than we ever have before. So it's been really good. And we've had plenty of times to go over it and review it, which is very positive.
Yeah, I'd like the summary up front, like executive summary and the narrative that you put in there, John. That really helps explain the overall budget. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. And, I know typically you're gonna see, past ones you guys have gotten here. What the city does, they do these giant budget books, charts, it's got 4 pages of just narrative. Of a message from, town manager, city manager, whatever, and it's like. I don't think people read that crap, I mean, I think it's a lot of fluff, and I don't like fluff, and so. I just put the facts in there, what you're gonna see, what people are gonna wanna see, quick summary on. The strategies of this budget, how we accomplish this, what you're gonna look at, and I think that's really, like, it's just a very. Executive summary style. That I
Right to
think
the point,
people pay
yeah.
more attention to than,
They'll read that,
yeah,
yeah.
so.
You have English muffins?
Is it still possible though, if we wanted to make an adjustment in one of the numbers for next year, that we could do that Monday?
We would have to probably pull it out of our contingents, out of our property acquisition line, if we were increase from property acquisition, or if we were decreasing, add it to contingency or to property acquisition.
Terry, what did you have in mind?
Yeah, that'd be.
Well, I was thinking more of decreasing something and then taking the difference and putting it in either contingency or land acquisition.
And a Diet Pepsi.
You wanna decrease Greg's salary, you said?
I guess I might as well say what I was thinking. I was thinking that one of the comments made by the incoming administration was that the supervisor's pay was too high, so I was thinking of lowering it, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I wanted to discuss that, with board members individually, perhaps before the meeting.
Yeah, I know we had talked about that. I mean, it's something that could be done at the meeting.
So. I'm gonna be honest, it's going to complicate. Things, budget, cause then we're not gonna be able to adopt the budget as it sits in there, we're gonna have to.
Adopt an
Call
amended.
out an amended budget, and then. Make a motion, first make a motion to amend the budget. The preliminary budget, which is what we'd still be talking about.
Right.
And then we'd have to call out the changes. And then a motion to adopt the budget as amended. And then I'll have to go through and afterwards and change the budget and then republish the packet for the board meeting.
Could that be accomplished in the December meeting?
We have to have it adopted by the 20th.
No, I know the budget, but I mean,
No, once we adopt the budget, it is what it is. And then you'd need a public hearing in a local law
change.
to reduce anything.
Yeah.
right,
So, I mean,
It's a timing issue. There just isn't enough time.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that could be done that we could look at and talk about. It would complicate things a little bit, but I think it's more procedural within the meeting itself, and then republishing the updated, because again, part of the reason we have these meetings is to have these discussions and talk about any changes and make those changes on the floor.
I think that's a one-off conversation though, Terry. You know what I mean?
I was just trying to be accommodating and, operate in a bipartisan spirit, so. No, it's a question, not something that I would, push, at this point in time, it would be very, very difficult. We'd wind up adopting the preliminary budget anyway, probably, so we might just as well go ahead. It's just that, they did make that comment that they would like to do that. And once somebody has an established salary and is in office, you can't lower the You can't lower the pay, the salary for that
Um,
position.
You can do a local law during the budget year.
We tried to do that with the justices and we were told no.
I
We
don't think
lost
you
that
can.
case.
I don't think you can.
lost that.
Yeah,
You can't reduce.
Can't reduce
Elected officials.
Elected officials.
Right,
Salary in 26. You could do it in 27.
right.
no, could you?
Changed.
No, it's during the term of office.
We changed the sheriff's salary.
Well,
They-
you
they-
can't,
Through local
yeah,
law.
Increase? Yeah,
You
you
can
can
An
increase
increase,
it.
but you can't
You
you can
decrease.
increase, but you
Right.
can't,
You can't
yeah, you can't
decrease.
Right,
decrease.
decrease.
Yeah, that's the issue, so.
You have to have a mandatory referendum.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's just leave it alone then.
Well,
Just-
I think let's, if there are conversations to be had, have them, and then we can, and then see if there's enough to bring forward at the board meeting.
Okay,
If there's enough, enough feeling for that.
no, it's really a kind of a time crunch here. I mean, you know.
Yeah, but it's still possible.
Well, at least we could, demonstrate, a spirit of cooperation.
I agree.
Okay. That's my only comment. That's, I'm done.
Okay.
Number 17, we're setting the public hearing to transfer from general fund contingency tax stabilization reserve. Just to be clear, that's one reserve, so it's not general fund contingency and the tax stabilization reserve. To the retirement contribution reserve. So this is something that was discussed during the budget process as well. That we are looking to fund the retirement contribution through this tax stabilization reserve, since this is very limited to what we can use that reserve for. One of those uses is the retirement contribution, and so that helped us offset some increases in expenditures in the 2026 budget by strategically using these reserves to put in as revenue to counteract or negate the payments to the highway and general fund retirement contributions. However, we have to do public hearing first. So this is set the public hearing for December, and then in December, we would have a public hearing, open, close it, take your comments, and then a resolution to make that transfer. As a kind of year-end process. And then, once you do that, in 2026. There wouldn't be any resolution to then have to make the transfer, because it's adopted in the budget and it's also going to be adopted separately through the resolution, so. It's technically anything you do in the budget is basic authorization to resolution, so you don't have to come back and say. 2025, we decided to transfer these reserves to this fund. When we adopted the budget, and now we're gonna accomplish it. It's within that budget adoption, but this one's a little different because you actually gotta do a public hearing first, so. Next one is establishment of the Parks and Rec Capital Reserve Fund. So this is when I talked about the Ononda Reserve Fund that we were gonna create in order to transfer some of those funds from the solid waste reserve that, again, it's got $1 million in there that can't touch. Because we're likely not gonna build a new solid waste reserve. I'm sorry, a new solid waste facility. So, we're taking some of that for Seneca Road project, we're taking some of that for Ononda. We have to complete the project, which is another resolution in here, it's the next one actually. But first, we're establishing the Parks and Rec Fund, and I decided to do it as a general Parks and Recreation Capital Reserve rather than just Ononda specific. because then money that goes in there. Can be used for any parks and recreational capital projects. You know, obviously you wanna allocate. That amount specifically back to the Ononda, which sits in the ARPA fund capital for projects. But then you will at least still have this fund established, so if there's anything that's not used, say we'll hit that $1 million grant.
Mhm.
And then we don't actually have to expend all the funds out of here, then you have it for other parks projects. And this was just kind of one of those things that we've really been missing, for our parks and rec facilities. We had the new parks one where you can create new parks from that reserve. But we didn't actually have one that would stock away, funds for all our other parks.
And this was a long time coming, and I appreciate everybody supporting this and John rolling this in. It's something we've needed for a long time to help build that capital strategy.
And so the next three resolutions are all really tied together, so this one, and the next one, you'll be, is finding a completed purpose for the solid waste management reserve fund. So in order to take money out of that fund, you have to establish that it's complete, and there's extra funds in there now that we're gonna remove. Now, completed does include the definition of change, like you're not just abandoning the project, that's the word. So completion does include abandonment of the project, so we are legally able to complete this project and transfer the funds while also still leaving $250,000 in there to just accommodate any repairs or improvements to our current facility. So this resolution is what's needed in order to fund the Parks and Rec reserve, and then the money that's gonna go into the highway improvement reserve for Seneca Road Point culverts, $250,000 is gonna go in there. Again, that was the other thing that we had, that if we didn't pull strategically from some reserve account, it was gonna be in our tax levy for $250,000 as part of that federal grant that we have to match and get reimbursed for, but not reimbursed all of it. So this also helps keep that tax rate down for a mandated project. This is a state mandate project. That culvert isn't sufficient by federal, state, I can't remember.
We're using federal guidelines,
Yeah.
because the feds are paying the state to give to us.
So. And then so. Just to give the part B of this too, is going to be in December to then actually transfer the money from these reserves. This month, the money is being authorized to be transferred from. The solid waste to each of these two reserves. And then in December, because we want them for a specific project, it will be then to authorize the funds to go from those reserves to those specific projects. And that includes the Harper capital project, but under the Ononda specific accounts, and the Seneca Point Road culvert project that already exists as a capital project. That's part B. Those will need risk referendums. So if the board authorizes it in December, they'll still need 30 days before they're actually enacted, and then for the money to be transferred. MRB, this is the proposal talked about in PPW. We gotta prepare that fire station, oil water separator. This is the storage tank you talked about in PPW that was It'll be finance, I can't remember now.
It was PW, it wasn't finance.
And so that committee recommended also this agreement. This is our appointment of the Director of Development. For Monday, so our plan has been to start him on Monday. And you know, a while ago, I sent out an email that explains that this is who we're hiring and with his resume. So, right, like, everybody was aware that we're hiring this person. You know, there were some questions on who, if we are hiring anybody, and I put that message out a while ago, so. Dental care stuff. It's a standard Lindsay resolution. For dental plan. Setting public hearing. For the chapter 92. Changes. To align with New York State. And this is all discussed in ordinance committee. And then set maturity payments. Setting the surety bond renewal. Executing the stormwater easement agreement. That's it.
Any questions on any of those? Any other questions to come up from those in there? All right. I do not hear, I think it's laid out
Yeah,
well, and
I
again,
finally unmuted myself. No, I have no other comments. I support everything we said there, so
all right.
sounds good.
And I think, like we said, it's laid out, the timing's laid out, and for the sequences that these things need to follow, which is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's be a slew of them in December as well, so, it's just, we had a bunch of stuff and going through and figuring out the timelines and what needs permissive referendum, what doesn't, when needs public hearings and all that. I'm trying, but I think I got it laid out to accomplish a lot of these things that we talked about in the budget strategies. It just has to happen over two meetings, and there's other ones that we could have done on this agenda as well that I already wrote through all the resolutions for, but then decided to move them to December because they're more like year-end process type stuff. And it just, when auditors do their audit, it just looks better when that you're doing year-end process, like in the month prior to the year or at the year end, and it just, everything, it just looks a lot cleaner. So.
Yeah. Good.
The
Good.
organizational meeting set up for January yet?
We'll have to set the date for that in December.
Okay.
Yeah,
And I would talk with, I would recommend that kind of staff discuss and look and see. We'll have to have that, that first week.
yeah, there's a statute that says
Yep.
up to what point we have to
Yep.
do it.
So we'll look at that, and then staff can pick whatever day that, that works for
Yeah,
everyone.
preferably the latest that we can, because
Yes.
these freaking resolutions are killing me.
Yeah, I would suggest doing it if possible on that last day, which might be a Friday, that Friday of that first week, or it's usually the 6th or the 8th. Something like that.
Friday is the 9th.
Okay, so then it'd have to be prior to that. The 6th or the 8th, they're different between us and county, so county, I know, has to be January 2nd because otherwise it'll be too late.
We are going to adopt our fee schedule. The board is going to, let me rephrase that. I'm gonna propose our fee schedule and the board is gonna choose whether or not to adopt it. Rather than doing that in January, we're gonna do that in December because it just makes more sense.
It does.
To start our
Right.
fee schedule on January 1st.
Right.
And technically, I found, in reading statutes, we're supposed to adopt it with our budget. You're supposed to adopt your fee schedule with your budget. However, that 1 month isn't a big deal, so wait until January is against statute and, in violation. So we've been in violation in the past. But December, we're good. We're getting it done consecutively with the budget before the end of the year.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
just another thing that I found.
All right. Anything else to come forward?
just a question, I guess, should we consider some kind of sit down with, the incoming administration town board to discuss transition and let them know where things stand? I mean, I don't know if it's legal to do that for one thing, but
No,
We'd
I
have
mean,
to- we'd have to advertise the meeting, right, if we're all there, right?
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Public meeting, right?
we should.
I don't disagree with you, Terry, though.
I would rather wait till December after everything's official.
okay,
So
yeah,
after
yeah.
December 1.
yeah, gotcha. Okay.
You
Well, it's
never
just
know.
there's so much for them to learn, and anything that we can pass along, they can, believe us or not, it'll be up to them, but,
Yeah.
we all are committed to helping our town be the best place possible to live and work and everything, and whether we won or lost, that is still our prime interest, and I just wanna make sure that town keeps moving northeast, onward and upward.
Yes.
Okay,
So
other
let's,
than that, I got nothing, so,
yeah, we can look for that after Thanksgiving.
okay, sounds good.
All right. Anybody have anything else? It looks like Jim's itching to get out. Jim's ready to bolt for the door. So
Yeah, I got something that's gotta be addressed. So,
he's in a sprinter stance. So, all right. I'll entertain a
Okay.
motion to adjourn.
So move.
All right. We have a first and a second by
Aye,
Terry and
we're out.
Dave. All in favor? Aye, we're done. All
Aye.
Aye.
right. Thank you all.